This lesson is on solving quadratic equations using graphs and tables. Solutions to a quadratic equation, zeros of a quadratic function, roots of a quadratic equation, x-intercepts of a parabola, they all mean the same thing. Okay, so if they're looking for the solutions to a quadratic equation, if you're looking at a graph, you only have to look at the x-intercepts of the parabola. A parabola, recall, is the graph of a quadratic equation. On this screen, I have shown you that there are graphs with two solutions, with one solution, or with no solutions. When you have a quadratic, you have an x squared as your lead variable. Because the exponent is 2, you can have up to 2 solutions. In this first one, I have 2 solutions. I have one right here, which I'm just going to put a line there for now. You have to look at the scale of the graph. So this goes in tens. It's marked 10. So each grid line would be marked as 2. So this would be -1 for the x. And your y, because it's the x-intercept, it's where it crosses the x-axis, your y is 0. Remember, your y goes up and down. So this right here is 0, and this is -1 for the x. So your answer is -1. And then there's another solution, which is right over here. And because we're in a scale of 2, this is 2, 3. So this is the point 3, 0. So our x value is 3. So that is our second solution. Okay. So you can have 2 solutions. You can have 1 solution. And when you have 1 solution, it will be the vertex, the maximum or minimum point, okay, the vertex of the graph. And you're only looking for the x value because the y value is 0 because it's on the x-axis. So this one is 2, 4, 5. So my answer here would be x equals 5. Okay, over on this one, there is no solution. It doesn't cross the x-axis down here, so y is never 0. It's too far above and it hits the minimum. So, and it's because it opens upward. If it opens downward like this, it would have a maximum, and the maximum would be too far below the x-axis. So that is no solution. Okay. On this page, you are going to need to find the zeros by just looking at a table. But I put up here the table and the graph, okay, because I want to do some comparison here that you wouldn't normally see. So remember that y is equal to 0, and that's what gives me my solution. So my solution here is a -1. My solution here is 3 because y equals 0. Okay, notice that in between my solution, or on the outside of my solution, there is a negative and there is a positive. You have changed the sign. That means that if I'm going from the negative to the positive, I changed the sign. That means I'm crossing over the x-axis. And that's the 0. That's my solution. So if you go from a negative to a positive, you will also go from a positive to a negative, and vice versa. Okay, here I'm going from a positive to a negative. That means I have a 0 between them. So whenever you're changing the signs, you will have 2 solutions in your table. On this one, I only have one solution, and it's printed here. It's at 5 is my solution because my y is 0. And on the graph, it's right here. We saw it on the previous page. Okay, again, whenever you have one solution, it's the vertex of the parabola. You learned how to find the vertex in a previous lesson in quarter 1. In the summary, I have the formula for it. It's negative b over 2a is the x, and that's what you're looking for, because you know the y is 0. All right, for this table, notice for this table also, there is no change in signs. They're all positive because my parabola is either on the x-axis at the vertex or above the x-axis. Now, they can all be negative. That would mean that it's below the x-axis and on the x-axis for my solution, the vertex. Okay. In this third one, there is no solution to this graph. There is no zeros over here, and there will not be any zeros because my lowest point that I go to is at negative 1, 2. So y doesn't get any lower than 2. They're all positive. There's no change in sign. If they were all negative, that it would be down below, and it would not touch the x-axis. Once it touches the x-axis, you have a 0 or you have a solution. This is no solution. It doesn't get that far. So in summary, solving quadratic equations using graphs, you're looking at what the x value is when the graph intersects the x-axis. X-axis goes across. There are 2, 1, or no solutions. Solving quadratic equations, there should be no s on the end of quadratic in this. You're using tables. It's the x value when y is equal to 0. If there is a change in signs, there are 2 solutions. If you're going from a positive to a negative or a negative to a positive, there are 2 solutions. If there is no change in signs, there is either one solution or no solution. When you have one solution, it is the vertex of the parabola. And you're only interested in the x value, which is negative b over 2a, because the y, or the f of negative b over 2a, would equal 0, okay? There is no solution. The vertex is above the x-axis and opening up, or it's below the x-axis and opening down. So the vertex doesn't even hit the x-axis, or the x-intercepts. Okay. You will see 2 other videos that are optional for you to watch. It's how to use Desmos to make the graph, because you're going to have to make your own graphs at some point. And you're going to have to make your own tables. So it's how to use Desmos to make a table also. Have fun!